Hello you lovely lot, and welcome to Lee's Lab. Here's another quick update on what we're doing with some of the kit from Michael's studio. So here we have an E-Mu Proteus 2000 as the typical issue that all of these devices have, which is the rotary encoder goes bad. So that means sometimes when you turn it right, so when the numbers should be going up, they go down, or sometimes they go up and then down, round and round, and just does all kinds of wild stuff that it should be doing. So the plan today is to take this unit apart so we can get to the board that the rotary encoder is attached to, which is on the front panel. Michael's just in the process of getting the screws out the side, because we believe if we take the 4 screws out of these side panels, then the whole front piece should come away quite easily. So we'll give that a go and we'll come back to you shortly. So this ribbon cable on the front was going through this ferrite block, which was sandwiched together at the top with this clip, and that was preventing the front coming off. But yeah, it was definitely the screws at the 2 sides, just here and the same on the other side, that release the front. What else we're going to have to do is release this power cable here, which is for the LEDs at the front, and there's another one here, and then we'll just disconnect the ribbon cables and the front should be free. So we've separated the main board from the front panel now, so we'll get rid of the main board, and now we're working on the front panel. So looks like we've got a few screws to take out on the front here to get to the electronics. So we'll do that and then we'll come right back to you. There we go. Have to free this little PCB at the end in order to get the metal frame off. Where's that attached?
Fit up.
That was the screw. Does that free that off? And she's free. Okay, on to removing the rest of it. So we've got the metal shielding away, and it's revealed 3 separate PCBs, which is good because we only need to work on this end, which means we only need to take this board out. So let's get that one removed, and we're back in a second. So we're now left with this board, and this is the offending article right here, a rotary controller. It's basically pinned to the board with 2 anchor points on the left and right, and then at the front we have the 3 pins that send and receive the signal. So what I need to do now is get the soldering iron on, put a bit of fresh solder on those points there, get the solder sucker working, clear the holes, remove the old part, and then fit this new part here, brand spanking, lovely jubbly. Right, let's get the soldering iron on. Whoa, steady on that. Let's turn that down a bit. That should do it. So let's get these loaded up with some fresh solder. Solder even. And the reason behind this is it's a lot easier to pull leaded solder out when you heat it up. Even if they haven't used leaded solder, by mixing leaded solder with it, it lowers the melting point, which makes it a lot easier to suck the old solder out in a nice clean way, hopefully without ripping any traces off. Let's get a bit more on there, a bit more on there, a little bit more on there. Pretty much sucking right through. Just pulling the heat through that because it's such a wide contact on the back. But that's absolutely fine. I'll just load it up with a bit more solder. Let's do it on an angle. There we go. Let's get a bit of a blob on there. And then take the solder sucker. Make sure it's clear. And apply a bit of heat. And then we'll suck away the excess solder. This takes a bit of a time to get a bit of a technique with it, and sometimes it takes a while just to get enough out of the board. You know, you want to do it nice and safely, and you don't want to wreck any pads or vias in the process. So slow and steady definitely wins the race. So we'll get a few more of these done, and I don't know if you can see that hole's cleared, pretty much cleared there. We're going to repeat that on the others, and then the two bracing points as well. So yeah, pop back once we've done this and we'll show you the rest of the process. So the first two cleared okay, which is great because they're where our contacts are, the main ones that we need to use for the replacement pot. However, the third one is being a little bit of a pain, and here's the reason why. It's on a massive ground plane, so as soon as you put any heat into this, it gets sucked away into this area of the board. So I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm going to turn the heat up slightly on the soldering iron, so I'm going to go from 320 to 340. I'm going to put a little bit of flux in place, and I'm going to give it a bit more solder in that area. And then I'm going to attempt to suck it out again, and hopefully that will do a trick. If I still struggle with getting it clear, then what I'll do is I will clear the anchors, and then I'll come back to this pin at the end, and I'll do a little bit of a wiggle and a pull from the other side whilst heating it from this side. But hopefully we won't have to do that. Let's see how this goes. A good chunk of it came out there. So there we go. Still being a bit stubborn. Yeah, I think we'll have to do the pull-through method. Okay. So as you can see, I've loosened the fixing posts. These connectors are also loose. In fact, I'll just give them a little bit of a, yeah, they've got plenty of room on there. They're both wiggling away. So it's just this one now. So I'm going to just apply heat from the top, and I'm going to slowly pull it through from the back. Everything else is clear apart from this one pin. So I'm going to try and gently wiggle her out. There we go. Now it's clear, so that's the old pot. I'll just clear that up a bit. So we managed to keep the pad in place, so we've not ripped anything off. I'll give this a little bit of a clean with some IPA, and then we'll get the new pot in place. So we're just going to give that a quick spray of IPA out of a handy little spray bottle, and just give it a bit of a clean with an old toothbrush. Don't use this for brushing your teeth afterwards, it will not taste good. Probably make you feel quite ill as well. So that's cleaned the board up. We're now ready to put the new part in. So we take the new part and we line it up. I'm going to line the tangs in first. Now I'm going to have to repeat the same process this side because the hole hasn't completely cleared, and I don't want to risk lifting the actual pad off, even though we don't actually need this ground one, we only need these two connections here, but I don't want to risk that getting damaged. So I mean, it is partially through already, but we're going to give it a bit of heat before I push it the rest of the way through. There we go. So they're all in nice and tight there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to bend these tangs over and put a good blob of solder on each one, and then I'll come back and I'll do these three. So as you can see, I've bent the tangs over. I'm going to give them a good dollop of solder on each one, make sure it stays nice and in place. Definitely going nowhere, as they say. Okay, that's those two nicely secured. So now I'm going to do these three connections, and this is pretty straightforward job. Just need to get a nice amount of solder on there. Look at that, beautiful. That'll ding dong do for me. So now what we've got to do is do a quick bit of clean up on the back of the board, and then we'll reconstruct everything. So basically that's doing everything we did to start with in reverse, so we won't bore you with all that. We'll show you when it's all put back together. So we've got the front reattached. We're just connecting the last few ribbon cables and power cables now. Just an addendum on what I said earlier. This cable at the back here, which we unplugged, I said it was for LEDs. It's not, it's for the headphone socket, so I apologise for a little mistake there. The other thing I want to say is anything that's got a mains power supply in it can be dangerous. Even if it's been unplugged for a long while, these capacitors, especially in bigger power supplies, you'll see much bigger ones, they can hold a lot of charge for a long time and they can give you a nasty zap. So just be very careful. Don't work on things with a mains power supply in it if you don't feel comfortable doing so. Always see an engineer that knows what they're doing. We're going to put the lid on now and do a quick test. Okay, so we haven't put the lid on yet, but we have plugged an audio output in, and we put the power button on, and we've put the rotary controller on, and that feels nice and smooth. So let's have a little look. Power on, it's doing its thing. It's 2.26. Michael, would you like to use your rotary encoder?
Oh, I do love spinning a good knob.
Oh, that is nice and smooth. Look at that. Glorious. Try it the other way.
Oh wow.
Beautiful.
There we go.
There we go. That is how you replace the rotary encoder on an E-Mu Proteus, or any of the other E-Mus of this sort of range, like the Xtreme Lead or any of the rest. Like I said, it's quite a straightforward process. Just have to be mindful not to touch anything in the mains department whilst it's powered on with the lid off. If you don't feel comfortable replacing the rotary encoder yourself, you can always get in touch with us and we can do it for you. That's it for now, and we'll have some more videos soon. Take care guys, thanks for tuning in and watching.